On this episode of Roadkill, it is all about wrecking Corvettes.
That's not gonna buff out.
In February of 2014, a giant sinkhole opened up underneath the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it swallowed 8 Corvettes. They're worth like jillions of dollars each, and that is the most roadkill thing that ever happened to a bunch of museum Corvettes. So we figured we needed to check it out. We flew into Florida and tried to pick up the junkiest Corvette that we could so that we could road trip it all the way to Kentucky and check out that sinkhole and have a look at the Corvette assembly line while we were there.
My mission was to find Freiburger and I transportation from Florida to Kentucky. So of course, I went right to Craigslist and looked for the very worst Corvette I could find.
Hey.
Jamie Hannon owned a 75 Corvette that he had bought 6 years ago, found a bunch of rust, and then gave up on this restoration project. And he figured this is the perfect car for roadkill. It's got paint on it.
Dude, this thing is nice. I'd never seen this car before we got there, and I'm thinking, man, this doesn't look that bad. But then we pulled the plastic off, and yeah, this thing was definitely roadkill. The interior was completely gone, and what was there either came out of a Jeep or was completely rusted into the ground. So what's actually the dilemma here? Does it run?
Well, there's no windshield, so...
There's one window in the state of Florida. We've called everywhere. It's in Orlando.
It's that hard to find a Corvette windshield? Wow. Oh, this is cheating. We can leave now.
Oh, this is the nicest car with no windshield I've ever driven. So we're checking out the Corvette, and in walks Don Schumacher. The Don. Hi.
How you doing?
Holy crap, that's Don Schumacher.
If you don't know who Don Schumacher is, that means you're probably not an NHRA fan, because this guy's been around since the mid-60s, racing stuff like the Stardust funny cars, and today he is the single biggest owner in top fuel teams in the National Hot Rod Association. This guy Jamie is one of Schumacher's best friends. They go fishing together all the time. He mentions that he's going to the Las Vegas NHRA race the next weekend.
I'm heading to Vegas on Thursday.
And he invites us to just come by the pits and hang out, park our car in the pits and everything. We can make this thing go to Vegas. Screw the Corvette Museum. Let's go.
We qualify Friday and Saturday, and eliminations are on Sunday. You're welcome into the racetrack. Just send me a text, and I'll arrange for tickets and hospitality and some good meals.
We're either going to the Corvette Museum in Kentucky or maybe drag racing in Las Vegas, because Don Schumacher just showed up here.
On the floor.
Yeah. All right, so we need to get some calipers.
Wow, that's real bad.
Oh, spinning tires.
Did you see the steering wheel like it's doing this?
Oh yeah, a telescope.
It telescopes, and when you take off, it comes back towards you. As soon as we got on the street, I rolled a stop sign because the brakes on the Corvette were absolute garbage, and immediately I get pulled over for the second time on Roadkill. Hey, officer.
You know, there's a stop sign back there. You got to stop at those, okay?
This time the cop was pretty cool, though, and he let us go. He just said, get this junk off the street and pull it right back from where you found it and never have it be on a public road again. Yeah, little did he know. Before we can go anywhere, the Corvette does need a little bit of work. It hasn't been on the road in about 6 years, and it seems like it runs and drives pretty good. We did a test drive out there. The problem is, the brakes are really, really bad. Look at all that brake fluid all over the rotor. This is the great thing about Roadkills. People ask, what is the show really about? What do you do? We don't know. We show up to do one thing, and all of a sudden the plan changes. In this case, completely unexpectedly, Don Schumacher shows up, and we decide to go to Las Vegas instead of Bowling Green, Kentucky. We have no idea if we're actually going to pull it off. We need to drive something like 2,600 miles, 36 hours to get to Las Vegas here from Florida, in a Corvette that hasn't run in 6 years, that needs a brake job, that has no interior, in the rain with no windshield.
Check it out, I found the windshield. Oh yeah, that's gonna be perfect. Here's the deal, our new Corvette doesn't have a windshield, and we can't find one within 3 hours of where we're at. So we're gonna make one out of a piece of acrylic that we got from the hardware store, trace it with a Sharpie, cut it out with a jigsaw, tape it in place, and whatever else is leaking, we're just gonna cover up with garbage bags and tape. because it's raining, it's probably snowing, and we need to get this car on the road.
Custom. Fixed. He's going to put just a couple of tech screws in the windshield right now to keep it from blowing out of the car while we're driving. We change the oil, bleed the brakes, hit the road, right?
In theory. This is so nice now that after we put the factory trim back over the Gorilla Tape, I may go back here and slice the excess off, you know, just because we're that high end here at Roadkill.
All right, now the big question is, how am I going to mount our tack? When it comes to zip tie craftsmanship, I'm hard to beat. Pretty much the renowned expert. Do you like the tension arrangement here?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's sturdy.
The general consensus here is that we may not make it in 3 days to Vegas, and we needed some good luck. And I spotted this in the rafters here. And how can a bald eagle mounted to, what is that, a trophy? But how can this not be good luck? You could run for president in this car.
All right. Westbound and down.
So after a quick brake job, oil change, no tune-up at all, we left Jamie behind, jumped in his Corvette, and headed for Las Vegas. Vegas, baby, Vegas! I think we're gonna make it.
Tack doesn't work, actually.
Is that on the floor?
Oh, yeah. That's floored. When we hit the road, we did the quick math and realized we were going to have to drive 12 hours just on this day in order to get to Vegas on time. So we had no time to spare. And that's when the Turbo 400 completely gave up, ruining all hope of getting to Vegas in time. How come it's our nicest car and it went the shortest distance? Actually, the Charger didn't go very far either, but it was fixable. This isn't fixable.
Fewest amount of zip ties on this one, that's the problem.
Yeah. No, this would be us going on Craigslist to try and find another vehicle.
Or we get a trans.
That's a lot of time.
Even if we find a transmission, by the time we change it, there's no way we're getting to Vegas in time for this race.
We're probably going back to Plan A and heading up to the Corvette Museum, but that's only if we could get this thing fixed. We're loaded up on the trailer. Jamie, who gave us the car, is hunting up a transmission. We're gonna see if we can get it swapped out tonight.
You ever towed a Corvette with a bald eagle on the back before?
We ended up towing the Corvette back to Jamie's shop, where at least he softened the blow with a few beers, and he also brought in a bunch of friends to help us and a guy who had found a used Turbo 400 transmission somewhere in his stockpile. And so we jammed on it. We got the car up on a lift, did an R&R on the transmission, and by the time we were done, it was like midnight. The U-joints in this thing are absolutely destroyed. They're all notchy and loose and junky and lost. We have the new Turbo 400 here, but it looks like somebody crammed a metric nut onto the shaft for the shifter, and so we're trying to cut some new threads onto it.
So we left for Nevada 12 hours ago, blew up the transmission 10 miles down the road. These nice folks found us a used one. We've got our old converter on here, but brand new U-joints. And we're about to get back on the road. For where, I have no idea.
We had a running driving vet, but still no hope of making it to Las Vegas. The next morning, we were stoked again. We were Corvette Museum bound in our perfectly good 75 Corvette.
This car is really not that comfortable.
No. So we stopped for some tourist trap action, and the thing about Florida is that virtually every gas station overloads you with gator stuff.
So a while ago, we were at an auto parts store, and we see this third-gen Camaro. Amazing car. This flawless paint job, said Twix on the side. Something everyone should have, you know? The best part about that car was that it had a alligator print interior and a real alligator molded into the top of the dashboard. Homeboy's got an alligator on his dash. Look at it. David fell in love with it, and I think he's trying to bite that guy's rhyme because he just bought a gator head and zip-tied it to our dashboard. I think we're setting trends here. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So are we gonna call it the Boogie Nights Corvette or the AARP Corvette?
I was going to try and find you a big gold chain.
The great thing about Roadkill is I get to get out and see the country and some family members. It just so happened that our route to Kentucky took us right through Georgia, where my brother lives.
It's been 9 hours on the road today, none of them warm. We're outside of Georgia now. We're in Atlanta? We're in Ackworth, Georgia. And a few episodes ago, we met Finnegan's dad in the middle of nowhere when we happened to be in Arkansas. Hey! This time, we're dropping in on his brother and his mom.
I pretty much won't have to get her a Christmas gift after this.
I dressed especially homeless for this.
You totally look homeless.
So once again, we surprised my mom, who happened to be visiting my brother in Georgia that night.
Right now they're going, Mom, go answer the door. And she's going, it's not my house, why am I answering the door? Oh, there she is, she's coming. Hey, Mom.
No freaking way! Oh my gosh!
Hey there.
Hello, sweetie pie. Oh.
We ended up spending the night at his brother's house and having a nice home-cooked meal, which is rare, if not impossible, on Roadkill. And then the next morning fired up our Corvette and totally brought down the property value.
I don't think they want that thing in front of their museum. That would give Corvettes a bad name.
Good seeing you.
Drive safe.
I went the last time.
Ooh, look at that. Now, I don't know if you realize the true historical significance of this Corvette. See, if you go back to Corvette history, you look at 1953, and that car had an inline six-cylinder engine making 150 horsepower. And 22 years later, they had eclipsed that. This Corvette, with its L48 350 engine, makes 165 horsepower. That's right, this is the lowest powered V8 Corvette ever made. And they're not even pissed off horsepower. They're not even mildly annoyed horsepower. But the good news is the interior is super comfy with these Jeep Wrangler seats and no dash to get in the way. Yeah, this is about as good as a Corvette gets, at least a Roadkill Corvette. So it's Thursday morning now, and we're on our way to Bowling Green, Kentucky, where we're going to go see where they actually make Corvettes, because we need to give them a few tech tips based on our intimate knowledge of this particular model.
Yeah, here's where you screwed up. That part of the car that allows water to go in the car, don't do that anymore.
This is the worst Corvette ever. It has no horsepower, no windows. It's really cold. The only thing keeping us from freezing to death are these blankets. But other than that, things are going pretty well. And I'm feeling pretty good about this trip, right up until the point where we ran out of gas.
We were shocked to discover that the fuel gauge in the Corvette wasn't really accurate. We were able to jag across like 4 lanes of traffic, up and off ramp, barely cresting the top of it, just in time to hit another downhill part where we coasted into a gas station, within like 10 feet of the pump. It couldn't have gone better. Once we figured out how to keep gas in the tank, it was pretty much smooth sailing till we finally arrived at the mecca of Corvettes, Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is the site of not only the National Corvette Museum, but also the assembly plant where every single Corvette has come from since 1981. And they even had special parking just for us. We finally made it to Bowling Green, and we're deep inside the heart of the Corvette plant. This is where all the brand new Corvettes come from, right here. There's 7 miles of conveyor belts that go around inside this building. That's 1 million square feet. It's 14 acres.
I was just at Disneyland like a week ago with my kid, and it looks a lot like this, except this is brighter and moving a lot slower, but somehow this is more fun than Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
This is where the frame is actually built from the ground up. The frame is actually aluminum now as opposed to steel. That makes it 99 pounds lighter and about 57% stiffer.
This is where they all come together. The engines being installed up from the bottom, or actually the bodies being dropped onto the chassis from above.
Yeah,
that's cool. Oh, there, check it out.
The headers are on it already?
They obviously don't know how to do this right because there isn't ATF all over the floor. I don't see anybody looking for tools.
I hate to say this, but it really makes us look like amateurs.
It kind of does. So many people here are recognizing us, people who work on the assembly line. I think we're going to be responsible for ruining a couple new Corvettes because people are stopping working to wave at us.
Dude, y'all the real deal.
Oh, thanks.
Roadkill is awesome. I can't begin to tell you.
Thank you.
My boys are gonna freak.
Cool.
Hey, thanks.
Very nice. Thanks a lot.
Wow, you paid him to do that, didn't you? Look at that. Nobody's driving that.
That's crazy.
It's called our AGC robot. It's the automated guided cart. That's special vision technology. So if you were to actually be standing in front of it, it would patiently wait for you to move before it moved on.
After the tour, we finally reached the very end, the place where these Corvettes spring to life for the very first time and move under their own power. And the very first thing they do after like 10 feet is run over these gnarly stutter bumps that settle the suspension for them.
I'm not really a Corvette guy. You know, they're expensive. I really can't afford one. But I gotta admit, I walked out of this place wanting one.
Finally, we arrived at our ultimate destination, ground zero for Corvette destruction. These are the ones they pulled out.
So this thing fell into Middle Earth. It's really not that trashed.
Looks like most of the stuff in my driveway.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. So Hill and Karen Clark donated their car to the museum, and this is how it gets treated?
Yep.
I'm not leaving my car parked here. That one I just put right back in the hole. How do we get to the hole, miss?
You're heading that way.
Keep on going. Hole's that
Don't
one?
go in it.
Oh, we're going deep.
There's a glass wall.
That's why we got these.
We knew the odds were pretty low that the guys at the Corvette Museum would allow us to actually ghost ride our Stingray into the hole. But we thought we'd try anyway. I mean, hell, we drove all the way from Florida. How could they tell us no?
We have a car we'd like to donate to the museum,
You do?
but we want to put it directly in the hole so it can no longer hurt any of mankind.
Okay. Well, what kind of car is it?
75 Corvette.
A 75. I thought we'd say Mustang.
Oh, no, we want to make a time capsule. We want to make a donation.
No offense, nobody wants this Corvette. I would actually like to ghost ride the Corvette into the hole.
Yeah.
Rick the gas pedal, let it go. Where she lays, she lays.
Think of the live video feed.
Yes, that would be something I would like to see. That'd be fun.
All right, sweet hole, Bob. Thanks for showing us.
You're very welcome.
I don't think Bob's going to let me put my Stingray in his sinkhole.
After a week-long immersion into the Corvette world and seeing the sinkhole that swallowed 8 vets, we get it now. Chevy runs deep.
So in the end, it turns out we kind of offended these guys with the suggestion that our 75 should go back in the hole and get covered up and paved over, sort of as a memento to the Corvettes that could have been lost. And so here we bring you gratuitous Corvette violence, all 165 horsepower worth. Yeah, the beauty of this is that we can't open the hood because the cable broke.
Yeah.
So we're fine. So I finally got the Corvette Stingray out of my system. I'd kind of wanted one for a long time, and now I'd had a road trip in one. If you think about it, this is a roadkill win. We took a car that had not run in 6 years, fixed it, overcame adversity, went to the Corvette assembly plant, saw the sinkhole, and unfortunately did not get to leave our Corvette behind.
As usual, time was short and we had to jump on an airplane home. So we called up our buddies at Holly and said, hey man, you can have the keys to our Corvette.
Why are we always bailing these guys out? Divas.
Here's the choice. You take it right back to that building over there and park it. Okay, it's not legit to be on the street.
Okay.
All right. If I see it again, we're gonna have to tow it.
That's my second choice. Go.
Second choice.
Okay, well,
All right.
I'm picking option number one.
All right.
Thank you very much for the courtesy.